Hello, and today we're going to be taking a look at this lovely Emerson 286 ECB desktop from the start of 1990. Maybe perhaps even slightly earlier than that. First, a story of how I got on the heard of this computer. A year ago, I discovered this machine on eBay at decent cosmetic condition. I've made an offer to the seller and it arrived perfectly. I didn't have much info on this machine other than that it came with 2 megabytes of RAM, lacked a hard drive, and its CMOS battery died. But doing research, this computer was sold around at least 1990, perhaps even a year earlier. It originally came with 1 megabyte of RAM, had a built-in EMS chipset for EMS memory, and an integrated VGA chipset. Originally, I was planning to use MS-DOS 3.31 on this machine. However, I went with DOS 5.08 for 3 reasons. 1. The HiMem driver in MS-DOS 5 allows DOS to be loaded into extended memory, which gives me a lot more conventional memory, which is required to run more complex games such as Red Baron. Prior to HiMem being the standard in DOS, the only way to use extended memory in DOS outside of an extender was if you either had a copy of HiMem from renders, if a game came with it, or if the game was programmed to use its own memory manager. I had so much struggles trying to get certain games to even work under MS-DOS 3.31 due to how memory usage worked. I really hate to see how worse conventional memory hogging would be in DOS 3.31 with both a mouse and CD-ROM drivers. 2. DOS 5.0 is a lot more easier compared to earlier versions of DOS. The edit program for editing config and autoexec is much more simpler to use than the Adlib featured in earlier versions of DOS. 3. It still matches the time period when this computer came out. It is like a year newer, but considering how well DOS 5.0 has served, I wouldn't be surprised if the original owner of this machine did the same thing too. Or based off what I've seen on this sticker, whoever owned this computer originally, I'm gonna guess a store or a business, they probably did the same thing too. Judging from archive websites, the machine might have originally came with a copy of MS-DOS 3.31, which also had the EMS driver necessary, but why there is an Emerson MS-DOS floppy from 1990 archive, the EMS driver it has is not for the exact chipset that this particular machine uses. The Emerson website doesn't seem to have anything archived about this computer at all. Thankfully, a Dell computer using the same integrated EMS chipset as this Emerson has its drivers archived on Dell's website back in 1997 and can be found on the Internet Archive. When I first got to this machine, the BIOS didn't have any settings saved due to the dead battery. No matter if I tried using a CF flash card plugged in directly or even a hard drive, the computer couldn't see the drive at all. Things changed, however, when I did drop in a replacement for the battery, and now the computer sees the Seagate hard drive just fine. A 106.9 megabyte hard drive from around the same time period. Judging from this box art image, the computer seems to have never came with a hard drive originally, which means that buyers would have to add their own. A while ago, I was asking around online for the original manual that came with this computer. A user on Twitter has told me that they own the original documentation on this exact computer, possibly even the floppies, but they never responded back. I never figured out on my own how to even enter the BIOS screen manually after setting it up without having to take the CMOS battery out and putting it back in. Being a 286, it does support true extended memory. However, I configured the machine to use most of that extra memory in EMS mode, as EMS is what was commonly used for games made for 286 computers. One cool feature with this computer is that during the loading of DOS or after it's done loading, you can press Ctrl Alt and then the minus key to bring the machine down to 8 MHz, then Ctrl Alt Plus to bring it back to 16 MHz. This is great for speed-sensitive games like Bubblegurst. And for getting a much easier playing experience with the horrendous Mega Man PC conversion. I've also installed a Sound Blaster 1.5 to the machine. I originally was using a Pro Audio Spectrum 16, however, The Sound Blaster is a much more period-accurate sound card for this computer, not to mention that there's no drivers to load into memory at all to use this card. This Sound Blaster also has the chips installed for compatibility with the Creative Music System, Creative Lab's previous sound card, which has a quite unique sound to it with the square waves generated sounds and the few games that supports it. I sadly don't have the original OEM keyboard, but this layer NEC keyboard blends in nicely with the machine's aesthetics. I'll also be using this Microsoft Derv mouse, which just happens to come out prior to this exact computer hitting the market. This monitor from 1990 matches this computer wonderfully, and what a vintage monitor. Window boxed image, deep blacks, having to be too close to even count each individual picture in the higher reses, and instant resolution switching. This is something you won't get on a modern display.
Destruct sequence is engaged. 30 minutes till detonation.
Well, that's it on my video on the MSN 286 ECB PC. I've always been wanting a middle ground DOS PC for quite a while now, ever since seeing LGR video on his 16 MHz 386. If you can get a hold of a 286 of this speed, or even a 386SX of this speed, it'll be a fine addition to your DOS PC collection. It may be too fast for the oldest PC games, but it's really great for a lot of the EGA titles and early VGA games, especially the ones that are extremely speed sensitive, even on the mid-range 386. This has been an Ancient Pixels production, and I'll end this video with the Sierra Greetings Christmas card from 1992. Bye for now.